I look forward to seeing you next time on The Chase Australia.
A car ploughs into a crowded shop at Greenacre. Tonight, 10 people taken to hospital. The driver arrested. What caused him to lose control? The heroic reactions from people passing by, rushing in to save trapped women. At Lakemba, 2 teenage street racers pulled from a burning car after slamming into a truck. Restrictions on restaurants and cafes could be lifted within days. Pauline Hanson weighs into the border war with Queensland. Hydroelectricity Snowy 2.0 gets the green light, fast-track to create thousands of jobs. America backs Australia's stand against China. The US Secretary of State promises to support our Prime Minister. As power bills surge, how to save hundreds of dollars with one phone call. And the Eels, the big winners in the new season draw as they chase their first premiership in 34 years.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. First, the terrifying scene in Greenacre where an out-of-control driver ploughed into a women's fashion store and the crowd shopping inside. 10 people were hurt, witnesses scrambling through broken glass in shock as paramedics flooded the scene. Chris Reason begins our coverage.
Mid-afternoon in the middle of busy Greenacre. With wheels spinning and smoke pouring, this dark-coloured Mitsubishi pushes past the white car in front, launching through the intersection. It mounts the gutter and slams through the front of fashion store Hijab House. Up to a dozen staff and shoppers inside, some pinned in debris, others caught in the crush.
Trying the shop, directing the shop at full speed.
Bystanders rushed through the smashed front window and into the carnage. On the floor beside the car, not a body, but a mannequin. Remarkably, no one was seriously injured or killed, but some huddled together here, others wail in pain. This woman screaming hysterically. She tries to tear open the passenger door to get to the driver. She manages to get inside, finding him slumped in his seat. Paramedics set up an emergency triage for the victims.
All of a sudden I see some car just come out of nowhere, hit other cars, and then I get smacked. I get hit from the back, and he just kept pushing me. I was like, what is this guy doing?
This is Abdul. He was driving the white car you can see here at the start of the video.
I locked my brakes, it just kept pushing, and then all of a sudden I end up on that side of the road there, and then all of a sudden he ends up in the shop.
The chaos cleared. It took 30 minutes to free the driver. He's now in hospital. Police waiting to interview him.
Let's go to Chief Reporter Chris Reason now at the scene. Chris, the driver is now under arrest. What are police saying about the cause of this crash?
Yeah, good evening to you, Mark. Well, the driver is now in hospital undergoing blood and urine tests. He was known to police, they tell us, for a number of traffic offences. But the police are telling us that if you look at this vision, you can see that he's pushing the vehicle very hard at the time. The vehicle in front, that white vehicle, has applied the brakes, but as it moves out of the way, that vehicle behind is then free to pass through the intersection and into Hijab House behind me here this afternoon. But there's a lot of speculation here, Mark, that the man was simply suffering an unfortunate medical episode at the time. If you look closely at that social media vision, particularly as his face is in that window as it goes past there, you can see he is emotionless, reactionless as he goes into that intersection and through to the other side. Police also telling us today that he had no known association, didn't know the driver of that white car in front. Mark?
Extraordinary scenes, plenty of questions. Chris, thank you. Let's go to Leonie Ryan now at Liverpool Hospital. Leonie, what's the latest on the people who were hit?
Good evening, Mark. Well, 10 people were injured and taken to hospital. They suffered various injuries, including one person who suffered serious injuries to their legs. Now, given how fast the driver hit the shop, officers on the scene say they're relieved it wasn't worse. The most serious of the victims are being treated here at Liverpool Hospital and are expected to recover. Best case scenario, Mark, they'll be released in the coming days.
That is good news, Leonie. Thank you. Street racing is being blamed for another crash, this time at Lakemba, where 2 men have been dragged from flaming wreckage by brave bystanders. The car had slammed into a truck on Punchbowl Road. The impact caught on camera.
Speeding and skidding out of control at Lakemba last night, two teenagers almost cut in two. The silver Mazda bursting into flames seconds after crashing into the back of a parked truck. They were pinned inside, but brave bystanders swung into action, pulling the 19-year-old driver and his passenger to safety before fuel lines ignited and the car exploded.
Not long after when he got out, we get him out, the car just blow up.
Someone's pretty up.
Cameras caught the teens racing another vehicle. When they lost control, the dark-coloured car didn't stop.
Just a sudden bang.
Incredibly, the men got away with only cuts and broken bones. If it wasn't for the quick work of witnesses, police say they would not have survived.
These two young men, their families, should take something out of this because the police could have quite easily come knocking in the early hours of the morning to tell them about the loss of loved ones.
Not the only near miss overnight. At Haymarket, a drunk driver mowed down a pedestrian, then refused a breath test. Arrested, Lee Win Zhu returned a blood alcohol reading of 0.216, nearly 5 times the limit. The victim is recovering. The unlicensed driver charged with drink driving for the third time. With the wet weather set to stick around for the next few days and more cars back on the roads out of lockdowns, police say this type of behaviour needs to stop or it will cost lives.
Selfish, dangerous and stupid driver behaviour.
Andrew Denny, 7 News.
20 people, possibly more, are expected to be allowed into restaurants and pubs within days as the state government prepares to lift more restrictions. It's also promised hundreds of new jobs, many in the public transport system, which is about to come under more pressure than ever.
A light rail platform packed with students already, days before they return to school full-time.
We're gearing up for Monday and we're going to have 800,000 school students going back to school.
Public transport's new 600,000 trip capacity exceeded for the second day in a row yesterday. The plea to parents: drop your kids off next week.
We can do this with your help.
The government trying to reduce passengers now while preparing for more post-crisis. $600 million to be spent upgrading the rail network, creating 550 new jobs.
Well, this is almost as exciting as the metro opening.
The minister a little less enthused.
I know some of this stuff is not sexy,
but he promises it will reduce delays and deliver more services on the T4 Illawarra, T8 Airport and South Coast lines. The state government also promising 130 new jobs in Western Sydney. Approval fast-tracked for a $26 million upgrade of the Austral Bricks factory at Horsley Park and a waste recycling facility in Penrith, despite strong local opposition.
Those issues were addressed to make sure that it was used for purposes that were not contentious.
A much-needed boost for the hospitality sector is coming too. The number of people allowed to gather for a meal to be increased within days, enabling many more cafes and restaurants, pubs and clubs to finally reopen.
The City Tattersalls Club set up a pop-up cafe for the 10-person limit.
If we were to get 20 or 50, or perhaps more, we'll be able to reactivate some of the other spaces that we've got.
At least 20 people now likely from the 1st of June.
I wouldn't rule that out. We're working with industry on that very issue as we speak.
And on reopening beauty salons, Sanctuary Skincare offering the Premier a free treatment if she hurries up.
I'd love Gladys to come. I'm sure she's in need of some stress relief right now, so I would love her to come in and I'd definitely love to treat her to a facial.
I won't talk about my own personal grooming. It's fair to say I've been heavily lobbied by half the population.
Let's go live to Alex Hart at State Parliament now. Alex, some more encouraging coronavirus test results for the government.
Yes, Mark, the latest figures show just 2 positive cases out of a whopping 9,700 tests. One, a person who travelled to Sydney from Melbourne. The other, that student from St Ignatius College, Riverview. Health officials say at this stage they still don't know how that Year 7 boy became infected, but they don't believe he was exposed on campus. The school is expected to reopen tomorrow with thorough cleaning now complete. Mark.
OK, Alex, thank you. Pauline Hanson is threatening to go to the High Court to open up the New South Wales-Queensland border. The senator wants a constitutional challenge given businesses and families are suffering and the health risk is now minimal.
If we've had the Chief National Medical Officer who says there was no reason to close the borders, then why are they shut?
She claims she's already engaged a constitutional lawyer. In a milestone for the Snowy Hydro expansion, the green light was given today for construction of the underground power station and tunnels. The project will create up to 2,000 jobs, providing a huge boost to the region at a time when it needs it the most.
Snowy 2.0, worth nearly $5 billion to the regional economy, but to those who will live and breathe it, it is priceless.
Being the heart of something is really important.
An economic kickstart and a mountain of jobs for the Snowies.
Mums, dads, kids will be apprentices, 70-year-old people who are going to get an opportunity.
Australia's biggest energy storage project, the underground power station, is as big as 2 football fields. A huge tunnel will connect 2 dams, the water turning power-generating turbines as it flows down, then is pumped back up. It will produce enough energy to power 500,000 homes. Construction of the original Snowy scheme started 70 years ago. It finished in 1974. Pumping life into regional economies like Talbingo is always a perpetual struggle, but in recent times so much life has been sucked right out of the bush. First drought, then bushfires, then COVID-19 restrictions. An announcement like this is truly golden. Kylie and Kevin's supermarket has been dead for months.
It is fantastic news for us. We're really keen.
Beryl Ryan's property was incinerated in the January bushfires.
It's going to bring more life to our little town.
It's the green light now for Snowy 2.0 and we're going to get on with the works.
Snowy 2.0 is expected to generate its first power in 2025. In Talbingo, Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Despite 19 coronavirus deaths and 12 more residents reportedly testing positive, aged care home Newmarch House is now planning to start easing restrictions, including less staff testing and getting residents out of their rooms so they can eat together. But families say those infected should be moved into hospital.
After more than 70 cases and 19 lives lost, there is at last signs Newmarch House may soon return to normal. A letter sent to families obtained by 7 News revealing from the start of next month, healthy residents will be allowed to resume communal dining, have family members able to visit them in their rooms, and staff that are currently tested every day will be screened once a week.
I think we're all still a little bit sceptical.
Some families warn, with a reported 12 positive cases still inside the facility, it's too soon to open things up.
I really don't understand why they're not going up to the hospital. You know, I mean, that surely would be the best place to care for them.
It's now 2 days since the letter and plan was sent to the families of residents, but many are only learning about it now. The Chief Health Officer, when questioned today, had no idea.
I'd have to get updated on the situation at Newmarch House. We haven't seen any new cases in residents for quite a period of time.
Now, New South Wales Health wants to pretend it has nothing to do with this aged care facility. It does, and it must, and any future decision should be based on health advice, not what is easy for Anglicare.
Cameron Price, 7 News.
A landmark court ruling has confirmed more than 1 million casual workers have a right to the same leave and entitlements as full-time staff. Unions say it's a win for workers' rights, but industry groups say they'll fight the decision, which they claim could cost employers billions of dollars.
Like millions of casual workers who may benefit from this ruling, miner Chad Stokes traded slightly higher pay for no entitlements.
Step in the right direction, especially for the next generation miners coming through.
The casual work trade-off has been turned on its head by the federal court ruling that if you work like full-time staff, you are.
If you get given a roster 12 months in advance, you're not a casual, you're a permanent employee.
The Australian Industry Group used the example of a casual mining truckie working 7 days on, 7 days off, saying he would be double-dipping unfairly if he claimed annual leave.
This is a disaster for us economically. It's a very bad sign for business and it will be a massive disincentive for employers.
The ruling applies to about 1.6 million casual workers. But casual workers may not be getting their entitlements anytime soon. The federal government was already considering new laws to define casual workers, effectively replacing this ruling, which could also be appealed all the way up to the High Court.
What we will do is consider a range of options, and part of this is considering what is the potential cost impact on small business of this decision.
If you want the security of a permanent workforce, then you have to treat them as permanent employees. You can't just pay your way out of that and get off the hook.
Brian Seymour, 7 News.
Australians are being assured our biggest export is not under threat, despite China imposing new import rules for iron ore. The federal government is playing down the changes to try to cool tensions with Beijing, as the US steps in to defend us.
Coming to Australia's aid.
It's not right.
The US Secretary of State bewildered, bemused.
The Chinese Communist Party chose to threaten Australia with economic retribution for a simple act of asking for an independent inquiry into the origins of the virus.
Expressing support while claiming the idea for the investigation was America's.
We stand with Australia and the more than 120 nations now who have taken up the American call for an inquiry.
That as China imposes new inspection rules on iron ore imports. The government-backed Global Times calling it another implicit warning to Australia. The Australian government, though, welcoming the change as positive, claiming it will speed up ore deliveries.
We have a fantastic, mutually beneficial trading relationship with China.
A fantastic relationship currently mired in a slanging match as the government releases its technology roadmap, the latest blueprint for cheaper and cleaner energy.
And at its heart, it's about technology, not taxes.
Using gas in the interim while developing hydrogen, thermal and possibly nuclear sources for the future.
We do hope that it provides the basis for some progress finally on Australia's energy crisis.
The Treasury Secretary addressing the unemployment crisis, revealing the real rate might already be 10%.
And of course the really very important question is how quickly it comes down.
Hundreds of thousands of Australians' futures hanging on the answer. Mark Riley, 7 News.
A woman who was stabbed to death in Sydney's West had been living in fear for some time. There was a restraining order out against her husband, who has now been charged with murder.
Leaving hospital with bandaged hands that police say have blood on them. Wounded as he allegedly cut his wife's throat.
It will be alleged that the husband has actually obviously assaulted and murdered his wife.
27-year-old Kamaljit Sidhu was attacked in her bedroom with a 15-centimetre kitchen knife at the couple's Quakers Hill home.
She was just screaming, crying.
Her brother, who lived with them, returned home from work to find his sister in a pool of blood around 6:30 last night. The weapon was beside her and her husband, Baltej Lena, in the hallway.
It's very shocking and very disturbing.
The 31-year-old was arrested and spent today being questioned by detectives as specialist officers examined the scene and the couple's history.
4 days before, I saw the woman. She was running away from here and the husband was behind her.
The couple had been married for 4 years, but last month police say Ms Sidhu became fearful of her husband. Officers took out an AVO preventing the accused from assaulting his wife, but it didn't stop him from living with her.
They were residing together in the same bedroom.
Even though there was an outrageous violence already.
That's correct.
Protection that didn't go far enough. Natasha Squarey, 7 News.
A state of emergency has been declared in the US where 2 dams have collapsed, both the subject of warnings for years. It's caused catastrophic flooding and triggered thousands of evacuations. It's being described as a 1 in 500-year event.
The torrent of water unstoppable, gushing furiously toward the town of Midland, Michigan.
The dam has failed. 100% failure. Evacuate.
Moments later, 16 kilometres downstream, floodwater overwhelms a second dam.
That's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Massive amount of debris there.
The landscape littered with rubble.
Never thought in my life that the dam would break.
The river cresting at a record 10 metres, the force of the floodwater washing away asphalt, seeping into transformers.
It's devastating. We know that this water is incredibly damaging.
A dual crisis crippling the state.
It's hard to believe that we're in the midst of a 100-year crisis, a global pandemic, and that we're also dealing with a flooding event that looks to be the worst in 500 years.
With more than 10,000 people forced to evacuate, school gyms transformed into shelters, the elderly trying to keep their distance from one another.
I'm not sure what we're going to do.
With more rain expected this week, there's growing concern about a chemical plant on the riverbank and questions about the safety record of the dams, both built in the 1920s. In the United States, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
Time now for a check on our weather, Brownie. It was a cold one today.
Oh, indeed, Fergo, and it's time to batten down the hatches. An intense low is expected to lob off the coast overnight, delivering heavy rain coupled with gale to storm-force coastal winds lingering for several hours. But at the moment, in our city, it's sitting on 16 degrees. The pressure, while it continues to fall, we have this upper-level cloud signature right in here, which indicates a surface low is only a few hours away. Now, some big waves also enter the mix during the morning as the low whips up gale to storm-force winds right near its core, waves exceeding 6 metres. But having said that, have a look at this. We're expecting bursts of heavy rain. We're in the forecast across the Sydney Basin overnight. But you'll notice the bulk of the rain gradually clearing offshore during the afternoon. As far as rainfall totals go, a model predicts the following. We're watching the totals build up. Have a look at this, 50 to 100 millimetres for coastal areas. Most of this falls overnight and first thing tomorrow morning. And it also includes the CBD. Weekend weather in detail, top of the hour, Fergo.
OK, David, thank you. Police opened fire in a dramatic standoff with two brothers on the run from the law. Next, the body cam vision that shows exactly what happened. Also, how Sydney's traffic cameras are raking in millions despite the lockdown lull. Ready for liftoff, meet the two astronauts set to make space history. Later, what's increasing your power bill and how to slash your payments with one phone call. And in sport, the winners and losers in the NRL's full season draw ahead of next Thursday's kick-off.
House renovated is like a golden ticket to the rest of your life.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
It'll be the Hampton-style home of her dreams.
This is the house of our dreams.
Oh my God. His dream home will be revealed. House Rules, Sunday at 7.
Since 1880, the Salvos have been proud to stand with anyone doing it tough. Now, more than ever, please help us leave no one in need. If you're able, please give to the Red Shield Appeal at salvationarmy.org.au.
When I first met Nugget, he was stuck in a hole. But I've been pushing him hard.
Now, Nugget is healthy and regular. Take Metamucil daily, a natural way to stay regular and support a healthy gut.
This is a test for people when they turn 50, and it happens really quickly actually in life, turning 50. You get a free test kit every 2 years. It'll arrive in the mail. Gee whiz, you haven't even had to go out and source it. It arrives at your doorstep. If you get tested and you catch it early, you're going to be a winner. North of 90% of people will be cured if you get it early. I've used it. It is the easiest thing in the world to use, and then you can sleep peacefully. Do the test.
As this year continues to be a challenging one for all of us, NRMA Insurance remains dedicated to helping Australians. We've introduced a customer help program with a range of relief options to assist customers currently in need. If you're experiencing financial hardship, call us today to find out how we can tailor help options for you.
Shut up and take my money.
Craig! You forgot your phone.
Melissa? Thank you. You okay?
Yeah.
It's a St. George thing.
You don't give in. You don't give up. It's called Aussie Spirit, and it takes spirit to get through times like these. It's what inspires us to help. Together we'll get through this. Search Toyota, here to help.
She loves cats, so tonight I'll borrow my neighbor's.
My babies.
Temptations cat treats.
Tasty, affordable and delicious. What's for dinner in the next break with Coles?
Welcome back. Police body cam video has been released showing two fugitive brothers threatening to behead counter-terrorism officers in country Victoria last year before being shot. Both suffered serious injuries but survived and are now facing court. The month of March saw a big jump in speed camera revenue to almost $21 million, despite far fewer cars on the roads. The theory is empty streets encourage speeding. Another concern, an alleged lack of school crossing supervisors.
The opposition claims as schools go back, many have been left without lollipop people after being promised an extra 300.
It would be better if they were employed right throughout this pandemic.
But the government says it's a 3-year program and it is on track.
We've already met our target for having 80 new school crossing supervisors appointed this year.
The other road issue arising from the lockdown are Sydney's speed cameras. Despite less traffic, they took almost $21 million in March, up from $15 million in April. Empty roads may have tempted drivers to put the foot down.
The traffic's been very light and I think people have just had the opportunity to do what they want to do. Yeah. And thought, oh, they get away with it.
These statistics are alarming because we were hoping to see a fall.
The biggest earner was the M4 East Tunnel, netting over $1.2 million in 1 month. And those outside schools on the Princess Highway at Kogarah managed almost $300,000, raising the question, did drivers think school zones weren't in force?
There was no kids about.
Most of the schools weren't operating at the time.
The fact is, 40k school zones operate on all gazetted school days, whether kids are at school or not. The reason is consistency. School rules might vary, but road rules are strict.
No, speeding is a crime. Do not do it. It kills people.
Tom Saker, 7 News.
America is weighing up a new travel ban targeting Brazil, where coronavirus is now spreading faster than anywhere else on Earth. Confronting pictures of pre-dug graves show the gravity of the crisis there. In just 24 hours, Brazil recorded 888 deaths and close to 20,000 new cases. The mayor of Sao Paulo has declared a 5-day holiday to force everyone to stay home. But Brazil's president has urged businesses to stay open, continually dismissing COVID-19 as a little flu. The strongest cyclone in decades has smashed into India and Bangladesh, destroying thousands of homes and claiming more than a dozen lives. Cyclone Amphan packed winds of 165 kilometres an hour, transformer stations exploding like fireworks. Close to 3 million people were evacuated from homes ahead of the storm. 2 astronauts have been given a hometown hero send-off from Texas before arriving in Florida, where they'll become the first Americans in almost a decade to launch from US soil. Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley will board a SpaceX Crew Dragon craft next week for the first manned test flight to the International Space Station.
I happen to have been one of the 4 astronauts that landed here almost 9 years ago in T-38s on the 4th of July of 2011 to close out the space shuttle program. So it's incredibly humbling to be here to start out the next launch from the United States.
They're scheduled for liftoff early Thursday morning, Australian time. He was known as the Outback serial killer, linked to several violent deaths, including that of his fiancée. Next, why Tex Arthurall could soon be transferred to a nursing home. Also bouncing back, new jobs data shows a COVID recovery could be well underway. Guy Sebastian's legal stoush with his former manager takes a nasty new turn. And plans for a people's loop to breathe new life into Parramatta Park. That's next.
Hello, Zoe. I have been watching you.
Here we go. I'm a mum of 2. If you haven't had things under your nail and wondered if it's Nutella or poo, then you're not a mum. Kids have changed my life. People will never pick that I am a woodwork teacher.
I am Big Brother, and I have chosen you. You're used to taking charge. But in here, it's me who's in charge.
I can hold my own, I can stand my ground.
So you think you can go to the top of this class and be the last one standing?
I'm about as subtle as a brick in the face.
I am Big Brother. Who wins? You decide.
Hey everyone, I'm Courtney Ralston and we hope we have inspired your meal creations this week and that you've had fun joining in on the Coles and Heart Foundation Cook with Heart Challenge. For the final recipe tonight, I'll be cooking a fast and fresh satay chicken noodle salad. This recipe is full of punchy flavours, crispy textures, and most importantly, it's good for your heart. So let's get on with the cooking. The first thing we'll need to do is to prepare our noodles. And I'm just going to pop these into some boiling water and we're going to let them simmer away for around 5 or 6 minutes until they become nice and tender. So I've got some skinless chicken breast here, and this is going into a non-stick pan, so we don't need too much oil. And that's going to take about 2 or 3 minutes each side just to cook through. All right, chicken's cooked. You can take that out and just let it rest. Noodles are cooked and I've just drained them and run some cold water over them to keep them nice and separate. The key to maintaining a healthy heart is lots of vegetables. So we can start with some spring onions. I've got a nice handful of fresh snow peas, so we're leaving all of these vegetables raw to get a really nice texture. Got some beautiful fresh radishes. I've got some bok choy just to slice up as well. And lastly, I've got a carrot. Look at that, so many fresh colours of the rainbow. All right, for our satay dressing, I've got 2 tablespoons of crunchy peanut butter. Now this is one with no salt and no sugar. You've got to watch out for those when you're trying to keep a healthy heart. And into the peanut butter, I've got 2 tablespoons of low salt soy sauce. To add a bit of zing and zip into the dressing, I've got a fresh lime, about a tablespoon or 2 of your favourite hot sauce or chili jam. Just mix that up until it's nice and smooth. Give it a little taste. That's good. All right, all we've got to do now is just plate this up. It's as simple as that. So this little bit of coriander on the top. Finishing touch is just some peanuts to add some beautiful crunch and texture. Look at that big, gorgeous platter. It's healthy for your heart. It ticks so many boxes. There's so many good reasons to get involved in the Cook with Heart Challenge. So if you haven't joined or you're wanting more details about the challenge or more delicious recipes, check out cookwithheart.com.au. Happy cooking. I know it's happy eating for me tonight. Dinner's ready!
Welcome back. One of Australia's worst serial killers looks set to be transferred to a nursing home, a move other residents might find alarming. Reginald Arthurell, known as Tex, has killed at least 3 people. He's now 73 and due for parole, but opponents say he's still dangerous.
Convinced his sister's killer will strike again, Paul Quinn fronted today's parole hearing, hoping Reginald Tex Arthurell stays locked up.
Brutal, callous. He most definitely should have been given a life sentence.
Paul asked that we not show his face, but he's written a book telling how he found his sister, Venet Mulhall, bludgeoned to death at her Coonabarabran home in 1995.
Say hello to Mum Venet.
Hi, Mum.
Arthurell took sick selfies wearing his victim's dress. He was on parole at the time for murdering his stepfather. He'd also done time for a killing at Tennant Creek.
They got it wrong last time. How do we know they're not going to get it wrong again? And my view is he does still present as a danger.
No decision today. Instead, the parole authority ordered an aged care assessment on the 73-year-old. Arthurell's 24-year sentence expires next year. Ideally, he should be supervised.
They travelled 2.5 hours to be here to make submissions today, but still don't consider this adjournment a loss. Every day they keep Arthurell behind bars is worthwhile.
I think we've made progress. As far as I'm concerned, it is a win because what it means more than anything is that the parole authority has listened to the victim. That's all we ask.
The authority meets again in July. Evan Batten, 7 News.
Guy Sebastian's legal battle with his former manager has taken a new twist, with the singer now accusing him of diverting royalty payments into an unknown account more than 2 years after their business relationship turned sour. The Australian Idol winner filed an application with the federal court to include the new allegations against Titus Day. Both men claim they're owed hundreds of thousands of dollars by the other. The number of employers looking for new workers has spiked, with online job ads surging in the past few weeks. Let's go to Network Finance editor Gemma Acton. Gemma, good news for anyone looking for work.
Yes, Mark, recruiters are hoping last month signalled the low point for jobs. Across Australia, new job ads rose by 27% in the first 2 weeks of May compared to April, but the positions available are still far below levels from earlier this year.
It is still very early days, and we've got to remember that the falls from February are in the order of 60 to 70%.
New ads Ads for hospitality and retail jobs are increasing as restrictions ease, but mining ads, which were the least hit by the pandemic, have seen a recent decline. New South Wales lagged other states with just 21% growth in job ads.
Let's hope it keeps building, Gemma. Thank you. There's now more room to run in Parramatta Park with a trial of a People's Loop underway. It comes at the expense of drivers with a car-free zone in place. And it could soon be extended as more people venture outside to keep fit.
Sydney just can't get enough of exercise. The COVID effect that's filling our parks with people and now closing them off to drivers.
All about ensuring that there's opportunities for social distancing in our parklands by effectively removing vehicles.
Parramatta Park has brought forward its plan for a People's Loop, restricting about a third of its perimeter roadway to just walkers and cyclists.
And improve safety and make space for people to enjoy themselves. Some of the drivers have no idea around this park.
A 2-month trial that eventually could lead to a wider car ban.
We do have a long-term plan to extend the car-free aspect to this entire loop.
The pilot comes at a time commuters are being urged away from public transport into vehicles.
So there's plenty of parking around the periphery of the park.
Walking, cycling, it's a public love affair with parks, but even without COVID, authorities believe there'll be a lasting effect. Sydney Olympic Park has seen 170,000 cyclists a month, more than double the average.
We'd like to think that people have rediscovered their backyard and these incredible assets and facilities that are right on their doorstep.
Even when the gyms reopen.
It's outdoors and it's sunshine and fresh air. What else would you want?
Chris Marr, 7 News.
The entertainment industry has been hit hard by the downturn with so many concerts and festivals cancelled. Next, bringing back live music and listening from the comfort of your car. The drive-in gigs coming to a suburb near you. Also, save thousands of dollars to transfer your home loan. How to cash in on the best deals. Fine or no fine for the tinny hero who saved a baby whale.
Batten down the hatches, wild weather building. Details soon.
He's visiting. But now he's found a reason to stay.
Do you always flirt with your brother's dates?
You want me?
Oh, yeah, more than you'll ever know. But let's be honest, you'll never know.
I'll leave you alone. Just say the word.
Home and Away, next on 7.
If you're struggling to balance work, life and family, you need to shake it up. Ensure Health Shakes help you get the nutrition you need to help your body build strength from within, with a prebiotic and antioxidants to support a healthy immune system, calcium and protein for muscle and bone health. Put more balance in your work-life balance. Shake it up with Ensure.
Now's a great time to sort your health cover with NIB. Join any combined hospital and extras cover online by June 30 and you'll get a virtual Visa e-gift card valued up to $400. Join NIB today. It's worth it.
It's mayhem! Click Frenzy is on right now! Massive savings, the biggest brands, only for 2 days. Grab a bargain and let's regrow. ClickFrenzy.com.au. Sale ends midnight Thursday.
Great Wall end of financial year value is now on. Get a brand new petrol dual cab or diesel single cab with a free trade and a 5-year warranty from only $19,990. That's right, from just $19,990 drive away. Great Wall, it's built to work.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Harvey Norman has everything you need for your home. Our spacious stores are open with great deals on big brand Australian-made mattresses and ensembles. Huge savings on bedroom furniture, including beds, bedside tables and tall boys. Great bargains for the kids' bedrooms. Choose from space-saving bunks, beds, desks and more. Time to get cozy with amazing prices across a huge range of Manchester essentials. Mattresses, ensembles, bedroom furniture in Manchester. Everything you need for your home. Browse online and shop safely in store. Now at Harvey Norman.
Go!
many deliciously easy recipes to try, you'll never get bored when there's pork on your fork.
Checking the markets now, and the ASX 200 snapped a 4-day winning streak, closing down 22 points. Heavyweight miners finished lower following changes to China's iron ore import rules. Afterpay was the star performer, with shares finishing up 2.6%. And our dollar is buying 65.67 US cents. Fuel prices are starting to fall slightly across Sydney. The average is $1.09.5 a litre, but we found regular unleaded for just 92.8 cents at Liverpool. 13 banks are now offering thousands of dollars in cashbacks to homeowners taking out loans with them. Among the offers, $4,000 at the ANZ, Suncorp is up to $3,000, plus an extra $1,000 for essential workers like nurses, teachers and police officers. Virgin Money is offering $2,500, but there's a catch.
If you don't refinance your home loan every few years, you might find that cashback special ends up costing you a lot more money in the long run.
Other lenders with no cashback are offering cheaper interest rates. A Gold Coast boatie who dived into the water to free a whale trapped in netting has escaped with a slap on the wrist. Django Hopkins was facing a hefty fine for getting too close to the humpback and interfering with shark nets. But instead, he's been given an official warning. Despite admitting his actions were potentially dangerous, he says he'd do it again. Going to a gig is still a long way off, but now there's a new way to see live music while still staying safe. Concerts from your car have started to pop up all over the world, including at Tempe in Sydney's inner west.
Calling shotgun for front row seats. Drive-in live music. The first of its kind in Australia.
They should continue doing it while, we're in lockdown.
12 o'clock on a Thursday, perfect.
Today's concert headlined by Casey Donovan.
I'm so thankful that I got to get out today and have fun and entertain.
With coronavirus restrictions banning large gatherings, it's hoped the drive-in concert can revive the struggling industry.
Fingers crossed I'll be back in another car park near you.
Tickets are scanned on entry to limit person-to-person contact. Fans can't step out of the vehicle unless using the bathroom. There is a limit of 2 people per car unless they're from the same household, and the plan is to have drinks and food delivered. To create that crowd atmosphere in a COVID-safe environment, you can dial into Zoom and see how everyone else is enjoying the concert from the comfort of their car. The organisers are in negotiations with local councils in New South Wales and Victoria to set up more, with plans to expand across the country. Today, a test drive to measure the success, and as with any new plan, there were a few hiccups.
I've got a dead battery.
Miley Hogan, 7 News.
A Manchester bombing survivor has had a superhero surprise as he fights to overcome his spinal injuries. Martin Hibbert struck up a friendship with Chris Hemsworth during treatment in Australia. He made a pledge to walk the red carpet with the Thor star in London next year.
Hey there, Martin. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Just wanted to say the time that we spent together in Australia was truly inspiring. I can't wait to see you soon as we walk down the red carpet together, mate. So be well, stay strong, and see you soon.
Martin has regained some movement in his legs and has even been able to stand up. With more people at home during the lockdown, a power bill shock could be on the way, but there's a simple way to get a better deal. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But now Jim's here with Sport, and Jim, the Eels are the big winners in the new season draw.
They are, Ferg. Good evening to you. Evening, everyone. Coming up, Parramatta has got the dream draw. We'll hear from their stars soon. Plus, Wayne Bennett is in hot water tonight with the NRL. Also ahead, the Roosters face a daunting challenge for a three-peat, while a coup for the women's game in season 2020. And big news for the summer of cricket, while a legend of the game swaps willow for scissors.
Bateman's Bay Fire Brigade stood on top of that roof and wouldn't let this burn.
All donated. People are amazing.
Join Dr. Harry and see how our heartland is healing.
You give me a second chance.
New Better Homes, Friday on 7.
Whether you're trying to keep your business going or make it stronger for the future, Business Australia can help you improve your cash flow, find alternative revenue or build your business online. Get the support you need at businessaustralia.com.
Discover new details about your family history with Ancestry. Simply type in a name and let Ancestry guide you on a journey of discovery. Start searching for free at ancestry.com.au.
At Spotlight's winter home sale, cosy up with 50% off all ready-to-hang faux-wood Venetian blinds and 40% off all indoor roller blinds, so you can shade it, block it and keep it cool for less. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
The stylish Haval H2, a globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away. Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
Hi, I'm Jo from Westpac. We know that what you want from your home loan changes over time. That's why we're here, to give you the best of both worlds with the option to split your home loan. Lock in certainty with part of your home loan under a historically low fixed interest rate. Then you'll know exactly how much you'll be repaying each month. Keep the other portion under a variable rate, giving you flexibility to make extra repayments to pay off your home sooner. For more information, search Westpac Split Loan.
The efforts we've all made to distance are working.
And if we keep going, together, we can stop the spread of COVID-19.
So if you leave home, stay 1.5 metres apart. This will help businesses like ours keep staff and you safe.
When you're visiting friends and family,
still keep distancing and don't go if you're sick.
By doing this together, we'll stop the spread and we will save lives. For the latest information, visit the New South Wales Government website.
It's mayhem! Click Frenzy is on right now! Massive savings, the biggest brands only for 2 days. Grab a bargain and let's regrow. Clickfrenzy.com.au. Sale ends midnight Thursday.
Huh?
Did someone say KFC?
I don't care. I love it.
Slashing your grocery bill. The 6 top tips for cutting costs. Make the most of what you buy on Sunrise tomorrow.
This sports report brought to you by KFC. Get your KFC contact free today.
Welcome back, everyone. The Eels are the big winners, while the Roosters and Bulldogs face tough challenges following the release today of the full season draw. The 20-round competition will culminate with the grand final on October 25, while men's and women's origin are locked in for November.
Parramatta had an extra spring in their step on the training track at Kellyville Park. A week out from their clash against the Broncos in Brisbane to begin round 3, the Eels' draw for season 2020 has them primed for a huge year. They won't have to play last year's grand finalists, the Roosters and Raiders, twice, and they also have just the one clash against the highly fancied Storm.
It's none of us that are talking ourselves up. We're just here doing our job, going about our work, and we'll try and put it together on the weekends.
And Parramatta has the added bonus of playing their home games and some of their away fixtures here at Bankwest Stadium. It certainly has the Eels excited about their prospects.
Yeah, I guess it'll be a little bit of an advantage. We obviously know the field pretty well, but there's not 30,000 Parramatta fans there screaming.
Reigning premiers, the Roosters, who are winless after 2 rounds, face a daunting challenge. They'll have to play the Raiders, Storm, Rabbitohs and Broncos twice. The Tricolours will take on the Dragons in the postponed Anzac match on Thursday, August 6 in round 13, on the anniversary of the Battle of Lone Pine. The Bulldogs have plenty of rivalry matches in Sydney and will play Parramatta, Manly and Souths twice.
Those sides they're always great to play. They're always big matchups and you always like to test yourself.
While Origin will feature in November with venues to be confirmed later in the season, Women's Origin will be a standalone showdown in prime time on Friday night, November 13. The NRL says it's all systems go for an exciting and unpredictable competition.
Most importantly, this is an incredibly historic and exciting time for our game, and we can't wait for next week and for kickoff.
Michelle Bishop, 7 News.
Souths coach Wayne Bennett has been grilled by the NRL's integrity unit about why he didn't notify them of Cody Walker's involvement in a street fight late last year. Bennett says he didn't pass the information on because no complaint was made to police or the club. The master coach could face a fine from the NRL. Now, at Manly, Des Hasler says the coronavirus enforced time off has been a huge benefit for the Seagulls, who play Hasler's old team, the Bulldogs, on Sunday week.
Any clubs that have had injuries at this 6-7 week break's been pretty good. So I'd imagine most sides are starting pretty healthy.
And the Newcastle Knights have signed veteran Broncos hooker Andrew McCulloch until the end of the season. Shane van Gisbergen is the new leader of the Supercars E-Series, racing on virtual versions of the NASCAR circuits in Charlotte and Daytona. The racing was fast and furious, as we've come to expect.
He's got the big grimace going. There's contact. Monstrous contact. Van Gisbergen trips over. Waters trips over.
It was a night to forget for previous championship leader Scott McLaughlin. Van Gisbergen won all 3 races to open up a 64-point lead at the top of the standings with 3 rounds to go. Cricket Australia is confident the blockbuster India Test Series will go ahead here this summer. But while there's growing optimism about the India tour, it's looking more and more likely that the T20 World Cup set down for October here will be postponed. Cricket Australia has assured Indian power brokers that player safety will be paramount for the 4 tests and 3 one-days.
Australia versus India, home and away, it's turning into a bit like the Ashes. I mean, India are a brilliant cricket team. They're entertaining. They've got billions of supporters. So look, let's hope we get it up and running.
Now, that Indian tour is worth $300 million in revenue for Cricket Australia. Well, cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar has swapped his bat for a pair of scissors. Hair salons in most parts of India are closed due to lockdown, so Sachin took it upon himself to give son Arjun a trim. The little master remains immensely popular. His social media hairstyling video has been viewed almost 4 million times in less than 24 hours. Well, he owns a couple of restaurants, so he's a restaurateur. Maybe now he can open up a string of Sachin's salons, perhaps, Fergo.
That is one very trusting son.
Do we see the end product?
Haven't seen it. Proof is in the pudding. I hope he's happy.
Me too.
Thanks, Jim.
OK.
Despite one of the most competitive markets in the country, a quarter of New South Wales households are still being charged the maximum allowable price for power. Analysts warn there's bill shock on the way, with many of those on default plans about to discover the real cost of working from home.
Working and schooling from home, the Wilcox family has never been more plugged in. Still, when it comes to the bill,
that's not too bad.
They're empowered.
You need to check your bill, learn how to read your meter.
Cutting back on energy guzzlers.
Probably normally air conditioning, but we try not to use it.
According to the Australian energy regulator, 24% of residential electricity customers are on a default market offer, meaning they're paying the highest rate allowed by the regulator.
When people might be stuck at home and using more energy than they normally would, particularly those people who are working from home, it's really important to shop around.
Loyalty doesn't pay when it comes to your energy needs.
You could potentially save hundreds of dollars. Take Parramatta, for example. The best deal on the market, $319 cheaper. Savings on average around $291. And there are similar deals no matter where you live, with wholesale power prices at their lowest in nearly 8 years.
We changed through one of those price comparison services to Origin a few years ago, and they seem to have been reasonably good so far.
The easiest way to compare, hop onto the government's website, Energy Made Easy. For those in financial hardship right now,
anyone that tells their provider they're struggling, they can't be disconnected until at least the end of July.
Serena Andaloro, 7 News.
David is back now with our forecast. Brownie, some rain today. What about tomorrow?
I think our coastal suburbs will be hammered first thing, Fergo. Yes, a low is expected to clip the coast. I'll have your forecast straight after the break.
Tonight on the latest from 7 News, the truth about JobKeeper. Will it help or hinder businesses and employees in the long run? Mark Burris joins me to explain. And how people recovered from COVID are exploiting their antibodies in a good way. Join me for that and all the breaking developments tonight, the latest from 7 News.
Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds are trying not to get married.
Why are you wet?
The Proposal, tonight 8:30 on 7.
I drive a lot. I build stuff, pull things, push things, and I hit things. And then I carry stuff.
What do you do again?
I drive a Hilux.
Australia's #1 selling vehicle, 4 years running. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
A few days ago, James had neck pain.
Then he discovered Voltaren Emel Gel. It relieves pain 2 times faster and reduces inflammation. Now with a no-mess applicator.
We spend 1/3 of our lives at work, another third in dreamland, and that sacred last third here. From home time to sleepy time, IKEA designs around life's precious moments. So wake up happy every morning, even Mondays. Make mess, mohawks, and laugh until your belly hurts. Because with IKEA, there really is no place like home.
Tough times don't excuse tougher times at home. Even in crisis, there's no place for abuse or domestic violence. If you're worried about your actions or relationship, help is available online and by phone 24/7. For free confidential advice and counselling, contact Men's Line. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
You know you'll make a great mum one day.
Wise men say.
You know, I had the weirdest cravings when I was pregnant with you. Pickles and ice cream.
Oh, if I falling in love with you.
Outside, it's something to look at. But inside, it's a space to be. A space we fit our lives into. A space that brings us closer. That spans generations. Where we go to let go. In a Mazda, this space is 100 years in the making. And summed up in 2 words. Zum zum.
We know you've always worked hard for your money. In these uncertain economic times, who do you trust to protect your wealth? Invest with La Trobe Financial, Australia's multi-award winning wealth manager and leading credit specialist. Trusted by Australians for more than 60 years.
He's visiting, but now he's found a reason to stay.
Do you always flirt with your brother's dates?
You want me?
Oh yeah, more than you'll ever know. But let's be honest, you'll never know.
I'll leave you alone. Just say the word.
Home and Away, next on 7.
This weather report brought to you by La Trobe Financial. Make your money work harder.
See the game changing. No contact rules. Set to make a mockery of children's sport. How's this going to work? On 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Tonight's 7 News headlines: a driver under arrest following a terrifying crash, a vehicle ploughing into a Greenacre clothing store, leaving 10 people hurt. In Lakemba, street racing is being blamed for this crash, where 2 men were dragged from the burning wreckage by bystanders. And 20 people, possibly more, are expected to be allowed into restaurants and pubs within days. Now for the latest on our weather, here's David.
Thanks very much, Fergo. Some rain at times today. We're expecting some heavy falls to develop overnight as a low winds up off our coast for several hours before gradually moving out to sea later tomorrow. Now, it's been cold today. In fact, the top temperature, 18.1 degrees. That happened by, well, late afternoon. Colder conditions tomorrow. Rainfall total so far, well, generally less than 10 millimetres since 9 o'clock this morning. But, yep, there's a lot more on the way. In fact, we've had some storms roll through over the past hour or so. But early today, look at this, snow flurries were reported in Nashdale, near Orange, on the central tablelands. Nashdale, by the way, is around 900 metres above mean sea level. As we go to the satellite, we're keeping an eye on the development of this low pressure circulation right in here. The actual position of it will depend on how much rain we will actually get. I think we'll see a lot that's starting to unfold right now. In fact, we've got some storms just over the Royal National Park. But during the forecast period, gales are expected to impact large parts of the coastal strip. But you'll notice the bulk of our state is looking at a dry day, and it will be very, very cold, including Brisbane. Sunshine and around 20 degrees. Melbourne, well, maybe a shower or two, but dry for most of it. A cold top of 14 degrees. For us, a storm warning covers the central coast tomorrow. We've got gales either side. We'll see rain about the southern and central coast, gradually easing as the day wears on. Snow showers at first around the southern ranges and the central ranges as well, above 1,000 metres. Dry and generally sunny elsewhere. But for us, yes, cold and windy in our backyard, with rain gradually clearing towards the coastal fringe. That should happen by early afternoon. You'll need to rug up. It will be a day of extreme wind chill. Coastal waters, hazardous surf. Yes, a storm warning is up and running. Wild seas throughout the day. For the city, rain heavy at times, clearing by late morning. A forecast top, by the way, of around 16 degrees, which is about 4 to 5 degrees below average for this time of year. There's the 7-day outlook. A rapid improvement by Saturday. Just a coastal shower or two, dry in our west. On Sunday, becoming unsettled throughout, with just a few showers rolling through. So that's the latest weather. Jim and Fergo, a rough one tonight and at first tomorrow morning.
Very wet and very windy.
Indeed.
Thanks, Brownie. That is 7 News for this Thursday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.
Hello, Angie.